become a potato, a watermelon, a banana, grapes. That means infinite number of things. Are you suggesting I can be all of that and you can be all of this? Then it will say. Then it will actually. Then it will actually.
Semantic games and say yes, because if you die, you're into the ground.
No. I'm not talking about this kind of thing. In reality, exactly as it is.
Worms eat you.
No, not that.
Use the same worms.
No. I'm saying instant transformation into a fruit. Right. So once you have a principle where yes, it's possible in the future that I can become a potato, you can become a banana, and so on. That means. I said, what about me becoming an orange? And it say, me becoming an avocado. And it say, yes. That means in the future, everyone has possibility of becoming everything else at any one time. But you know how absurd you won't be. Because at any one point, you can't have that. So all of this tells you, look, at one point, we have to say, look, these things are irrational to accept. We cannot accept that just because there is such a thing called probabilities and likelihood and possibilities. Even in mathematics, there is a number of what is possible. Okay, probability. We don't say it's probable. Say 10 to the power minus 50. That's probably a figure, a statistician. I don't know, right? I'm not a mathematician. Okay. We have to be real. So real means, given that the knowledge that we have today, we understand quite clearly. Something cannot come out of nothingness. So from our perspective today, there has been something always. Whether this universe has been always, or the one that originated this universe has always been there always. It makes more sense to believe the originator has been there always, who is the uncaused cause. Because if it was the universe, you would say, who caused the universe, and who caused the universe, who caused the universe? And eventually come to a point, you have to come to a point where this cause is uncaused.
I understand that. But again, I told you from the beginning, I struggle with that concept because an uncaused cause is the only way you can get out of.
That's the only rational concept.
No,
whether you struggle with it. No. Let me give you an example. If you're in a boat called the Titanic, remember that Titanic that sank, right? And you're saying, no, I'm not in the boat. I'm not gonna die, I'm gonna live. The boat is sinking, water is up to your neck. He said, no, you can deny and you can be struggling. Look, you are so rich, because that's why you ended up in the Titanic. You are so rich, you're so happy, luxury life, you came to the Titanic. At that point, it is very hard and you will struggle to accept the reality, which is you are sinking. You are sinking. The fact that we exist and there has to be something always, we may struggle, but that's the reality. We might want to say, no, it's not true. It's not true. It's not a fact.
No, but I've never said it's not true.
No, I'm saying we might struggle to accept it. How can it be? How can it be? But the reality is, this is how it is. We are in this Titanic called this world. And the fact is, there has to be always something which is uncaused. We can struggle. Your mind will be blowing, like, how can I accept that? But that is where we as Muslims, we say we surrender to this uncaused cause, because, you know, as finite human beings, we know this is where it goes. We know that this is the case. This is why a Muslim is one who surrenders this. There's nothing worthy of worship, nothing worthy of our glorification and gratitude. This glorification that is deserving, except to God, only the creator, the originator of this universe, originator of everything. Yeah. So that's why when the Quran says, look, he is the one, al-awwal, the first, and he is the last, the al-akhir, meaning there's nothing before him, there's nothing after him. And God describes badi'us samawati wal ard. He is the originator of everything. So if something exists always, it essentially have inherent properties and attributes. I don't have to give them, it possesses it. By being there always, it inherently has those attributes.
I understand that concept. By definition, if you're a creator, you create. That's an attribute. No, it's not. That's by definition what you do. But where I was struggling with these other Muslim brothers, they was telling me God is just, He's merciful, and all this stuff. And I said, where are you getting that from? They said, from the Quran. And I'm like, well, those are attributes. Now, and I said to them, according to the Islamic view, is God inconceivable? And they said to me, yes. So I said, then isn't it oh sir, to say he is just, he is merciful. I know it says it in the book, but applying attributes to something you can't comprehend to me is insane.
So this is where clarification is needed.
Yeah.
We cannot totally comprehend God, but we can understand God exists, the creator, the originator. Let's call him the originator to simplify things so that you don't struggle with the concept. A creator.
I get that, yeah.
The creator who's uncreated exists. So that's something that we have to understand first of all. Does it make sense to us? Of course it does. If such an entity exists, uncreated creator, by definition, we have been created by this creator. Of course. Right. So we cannot know the attributes of this creator because we are finite, limited, dependent.
And that was my point.
Now, the only way we can know is what? When this creator informs us about its attributes.
Now that's where we're going to have a problem.
Why?
Because before you came, the Christian told me you was wrong.
No.
The Christian no, because that's the thing. The Christian told me that Jesus was talking to her.
Listen.
No, she told me Jesus was talking to her.
In principle, do you agree? The creator, when the creator informs the creation of who it is or who he is, that's the only way we can be sure about the attributes. Not the creation speculating about the creator.
Yeah.
In principle. Whether this communication came from through Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Sikhism, that's a different question. But in principle, the attributes and qualities and you know the descriptions of this creator, it is only possible for us to know in its reality when it comes from the creator itself. Because I can speculate what this creator is, but that will be my speculation.
Of course.
And as my speculation could be an error. Right? Error. But when the creator communicates and informs us, then we know that this is what it is, because that's what it's describing. For example, you are a person, maybe people don't know you, right? But you became famous for whatever reason, but they haven't seen your face. But when you explain, look, I am this, I am about 5.5 foot tall, I'm this build, then people start building up the knowledge about you, because you told them now who you are. So when we're talking about the creator, when the creator informs us that he is the absolute, the perfect being, who is hearing and seeing, then we know that this is his attributes. Yeah? So that's how the Quran describes. The Quran informs us about his attributes. So now if you bring all the religions in the world...
When you say the Quran informs you of his attributes, you're saying the stories in the Quran, you come to, because of the actions taken by God in the Quran, you're concluding that because God does A, he is
No,
A.
not like that.
No, is that
it's totally different. The Quran is such a book of guidance that you'll be amazed when you read it. Have you read it? Yeah.
No, sir.
Right. When you read it, you'll be amazed. It describes who he is. It describes his actions, but it describes.
When you say that,
for example, he says,
"God, I am green," or "I like gold."
For example, I am God, the first and the last.
Right.
I am God. Before me, there was no one else. I am the one who creates. I am the creator. I am the one who forgives. I am the one who is just. These relational attributes. I am the one who loves, or I am the one who is the loving one. I am the one who is the most kind. So God relates to us the relational attributes and tells us who he is. So he also shows in action how he is. He demonstrates his justice, his mercy, that he is the creator and so on. So he tells us who he is and who he is not. That's the difference. So when we examine different revelation, claims of revelation, different books or scriptures or sacred books, you can examine what it describes who this creator is. So if a book describes the creator is someone who puts his son on guard on front of the door to guard his wife, he's going somewhere and says, let no one pass this. And his son didn't listen and he came back and he became very angry. He chopped the head of his son and then he realized his mistake, oh my son, and he looked around and he found an elephant, chopped the head of the elephant and put the elephant's head on his son, and that became Ganesh, god of the Hindus, right? The god of economics. You as a rational human being will say, that doesn't describe to me the eternal, perfect, creator, originator of the universe?
One.
Because this eternal creator, he has a son, and he doesn't know whether his son's going to look after him, and then he... What all this? What is all this? He has a wife? Does it all make sense? Because this uncause cause can only be one absolute entity, one. There cannot be more than one.
Okay.
There cannot be more than one.
Okay.
So when it describes more than one, you know it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know you know already, but just to illustrate your point, to make my point clearer, suppose now there are two absolute beings. One of them says, I want Noel to spin around 100 miles per hour on this spot. And you keep spinning because he's the absolute. But there's another absolute creator, originator. He says, now, I want you to be static like that and speaking to me. He's able to do that because he's all powerful by definition. What's going to happen to you? Are you going to keep on spinning? Are you going to be static and speaking to me? Options, possibilities, right? Either none of these things happen, would mean none of them are absolute. They failed miserably to do what they were intended to do. They didn't have the power to do that. Or you
cease to exist.
Then none of them.
If they are ultimate,
if you cease to exist, none of them are absolute, because they wanted you to spin without being non-existent, or be totally static without spinning. If you are static and you kept talking to me, at least from these two absolute entities, the one who wanted you to be static demonstrated his absolute power, but the other one failed miserably, and vice versa. You cannot have more than one absolute. That's why polytheism is not rational. So when
polytheism is lovely,
not rational.
No, it's lovely.
It could be lovely, it's not rational.
They got many gods, and they all do different things.
Look.
That's all. It's delegation.
Look. When you have many gods, are they absolute? If they're absolute, imagine now, absolute means what? Absolute knowledge.
Yeah, no.
If one of
I hear
them,
what you're saying, but I'm saying, for instance, like the ancient Greeks had God of the sea, God of the sky, blah blah blah. They could be absolute in their particular field.
Then they're not absolute altogether. When you're absolute, you're not saying, oh, by the way, I don't know what's happening there. There's another God. Let me think. What is he thinking? Does he know what is he thinking? The other God? If you're all knowledgeable, you should find out. Can you destroy the other God? Say, okay, I want to totally be destroyed. Can he destroy the other God?
That depends. If that's one of his attributes, then yes.
No.
If that's what the God
does he have the power? Does he have the power?
If that's what the God of the
does he have the power?
I wouldn't know.
There you go. So an absolute being has absolute power. That's by definition, you're perfect in your attributes. Because you didn't come into existence, you have this inherent attributes. So when this universe is here, it demonstrates this absolute entity is a possessor of power.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So his power will be unbound, unlimited, absolute.
I understand.
Yeah. So polytheism, from that sense, is not rational.
I understand why you're saying that, because you're obviously a monotheist, and that's fine.
For a reason, because it doesn't make any sense to believe in polytheism, because polytheism.
For them, it does.
No, it's not about them. It's about you are a rational human being. As a rational human being, can you believe in that?
Not all the time. Rationale should trump everything.
Oh, then this is where we have to end our conversation.
Sometimes, no, but sometimes, relax.
In reality,
Yeah, but no, sometimes.
if we suspend our rationality, then you can believe in anything. You can talk about anything.
Like, for instance, some guy just walks out and punches you in the face right now. Naturally. No. But wait a minute. Is that rational or irrational for you? If Mansur, if he's hit in the face and you jump to his aid, is that rational or irrational? Right. So it's irrational for you to stand back and let him deal with it himself?
No, it depends on my relationship to him, possibly. Might not like the guy.
No, but what I mean is, you're saying it's rational for you to jump to his aid.
Because I know him.
I'm saying it's irrational for you to jump to his aid and let him deal with it himself.
I think we are conflating the very concept of rationality. I think you're using a very different concept altogether. When we talk about rationality, we're saying the reality around us, we will assess, we will examine this reality as it is. We are not going to say, for example, oh yeah, in this reality, can you see the pink flying elephants there? Yeah, there is there. You can't say it, well,
There are pink flying elephants, not real ones. Have you been to the fairground? There's those
in
pink
reality.
ones. But I'll be honest. Let me tell you. I understand where you're coming from. I do. Honestly, I do.
Sure.
But to me, I don't know.
Okay.
And also, when you say uncaused cause, I can't get there. Because for me, infinite regression for me is
This is not infinite
the same as
regression.
magic.
This
It's
is
the
not-
same
this
as
is-
magic. It is.
Imagine,
Because if God has always been, that means he comes from nowhere. That's the only.
he doesn't have come from anywhere, he's
but-
there already.
No, but that's what I mean.
It's not about coming.
He's always been. That's to me, all I hear is magic.
You know, this is difficult for you to grasp,
Yes,
just
sir.
like as I
Struggle.
the example I gave
I
you about
struggle.
Titanic.
For me, yeah.
People will struggle. The
No,
reality
anyone-
may be the
anyone
reality.
No,
Look,
they all knew that ship was going out. At some point, they knew.
yeah,
you
they
know what
knew.
I mean?
So you already know that there has to be always something because there is no other
No,
alternative.
I don't.
What
already
alternative are
know
there?
that.
What alternative are there?
I don't know. But
You know,
that's the
as a
thing.
rational human being, you know this is
No,
the
as
only
a rational human being,
rational.
as a rational human being, it would be wrong for me to say yes, Mansur. You know what? Actually, you're right. The reason why it would be wrong for me to say that is because I've spoken to Jews, guys from Kemet, Christians, those. Oh wow. Those wow. See, now for me, they're irrational.
They're emotional.
Yeah. Now for me, I'm like, well, no, for me it's magic. Uncaused cause
when you
always
say,
been for
when
me.
you, when you say magic,
it's
do you know
magic.
what do you mean by magic?
Like smoke and mirrors, fairy dust.
No, none of that.
and all this
None
stuff.
of that, none of
But that for me, that's what in my limited thinking, and I'll be honest, I can see that's what it is. That's what
But I would not say this is anything magic. I would say, look, the reality, for example, you know, some people might say, look, that tree doesn't exist. You might say that, right?
That's it. Which tree?
That tree. That tree.
That one there.
You might say it doesn't exist,
Yeah.
but the reality is, independent of you making that statement, the tree exists. That's the reality we're talking about.
Agreed.
So you might struggle yourself, look, I don't accept that.
No, but don't forget what you said isn't true because other religious states will tell you that you're wrong.
No.
So whether it's your reality or not.
No.
Yeah.
The reality is, in any religion you go to, they cannot say there wasn't always something. Because the other option is there wasn't always something means there's nothing. So you have two camps. One camp is there's absolute nothingness, another camp is absolute something always. So we can see that camp which is absolute nothingness, we have to reject it.
Yeah. But is it right to call that thing then God?
No. That thing that always exists, that's why I'm saying we have to say this thing which is uncaused cause is the originator of the thing that followed. That's what I said earlier on. Let's make it something.
Uncaused cause is the originator.
Is the entity that brought about us now.
See, when you say us, do you mean the species?
No. This reality.
Oh, everything.
Yeah. Because that uncaused cause, the first cause, was the cause of us being here.
Yeah, but who caused the cause?
What
It's
cause?
uncaused. Who caused the first cause?
There is no
It's
first
uncaused.
cause.
No, there is.
They cannot have another cause.
Exactly, and that's the problem. Because unless you,
Look.
no, because you're saying, for
Look,
instance,
I just want to make
your
one point.
parents
Right?
came together.
No,
they
no,
made
one moment. I
That's
just want,
the cause of
no,
you.
wait.
Yes or no?
Excuse me, no. I want to make one point.
Go.
In any field of knowledge, there is a limit to the level of explanation.
Agreed.
At what point do you say, what's the explanation for that? For example, in forensic science, even in science, you say the water boils because of the Bunsen burner heating up the water. Okay, you can go on further. But what's causing the Bunsen burner to heat it up? The chemical reactions. What's causing the... You can go
I see what
ad
you're saying.
infinitum,
No,
but
I hear
you
what
will
you're
have to accept that there is a cause that is actually making the water to boil. How far that cause is, a cause exists.
Okay,
You
no,
cannot
I'm
then
with
say,
you. I'm with you.
oh, the
I'm with
cause goes on and there is. No. Likewise.
No, you can, but it's an insatiable waste of time.
Yeah,
and it's impossible.
So you have to have a person, and you understand already. No. From the discussion that we have.
Thank you. That's nice.
So ponder a bit more on this,
Yeah, I will.
and open up the Quran. Open up the Quran,
Yeah.
which you haven't read. You will see the Quran actually speaks to you and answers those questions rationally, reasonably, that you and your heart and your mind can be content with.
I'll be honest with you, one man said, let me be real with you. The chances of me opening the Quran is nil. Let me tell you why.
Why not?
Let me tell you why. I don't need religion. Any religion.
Do you need answers
No.
about this course?
No.
Why we are here?
No.
So you are quite happy when you die and that's it?
Yep.
What if you found out there was something else awaiting for you and a purpose which you didn't fulfill?
Fuck.
Well, that's your choice.
No, but that's real.
No, that's your choice.
But
No,
that's real, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's your choice, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So if this is your choice, this is all
Because
up to you.
don't forget. If I die,
The Quran, when we read the Quran,
Yes,
it
sir.
gives us certainty and tranquility in our hearts about why we're here, what we're doing here, what's going to happen after our death, and is it life eternal afterwards or not. So we have certainty, and that certainty gives us tranquility in our hearts in this life as well as what we'll have in the hereafter.
I'm okay with uncertainty.
That's up to you.
I
Okay,
really am.
take care.
Listen, look after yourself.